this simple mindset shift is going to change the game for how you work with AI and work through AI. So a lot of the people that are using AI and are working with it, they are trying to master AI versus working through it and let AI do the work. And a lot of people that are offended about AI or worried about AI is they are hanging on to the old mindset, right, of what work is and how they should work. And AI has come storming onto stage. Basically, like if you've seen Godzilla, you've seen the movies, it's like post-Godzilla arriving. That's AI. Godzilla has arrived. And so you can't go back to the world that we used to live in, the way you used to work. No, when Godzilla exists, right? You have to change and adapt, right? It just forces you to do that. AI is just one of those things. And so for you and for people watching this, recognizing that, the sooner you can recognize it, the better. If you're new to this, or you're still like, learning about this, and you're worried or you're frustrated or you're not happy with it, hey, vent for a little bit. I made a video back about college kids booing about AI and all of that, and people were mad. People were really mad about that, and I understand the sentiment. I understand the fear, but the reality is that AI's here. It's here to stay. It's a very, very powerful tool, and it kind of reshapes how we do work. And what I'm going to share with you in this video should actually be motivational for you when you fully understand it, because it actually makes work easier and better and can increase your output and makes you more valuable. And I think we're entering into a time that the people that grasp this, they're going to be the ones that make the money and create the opportunities. And the people that don't, right, they're going to be still complaining, and they're going to be the ones that are getting replaced by AI. They're going to be the ones that are out of work. And I don't want that for you. I don't want that for them, right? Because I think a lot of people can make this shift, and I think we need more of it. And so I've given the example before, and I'll get to some of a couple tweets that kind of emphasize this, but I've given the example before when it comes to AI and all of this, is that you need to start working through AI. You need to basically become a CEO, right? Instead of being like an analyst, right, you have a team of analysts working for you, and you're using AI and its connections, its experience, its speed to do the work that it would take a whole team to do, right? To do it in like a whole team to do in a week or 2 weeks or a month, for you yourself to do it in an hour, okay? And I mentioned this in my book, I mentioned this in my arsenal. You can check out those links below, where the person that understands this can start utilizing AI, even if they work a job, and they can start increasing their productivity, increasing their output, increasing the quality of their work, because they know. A quick example would be like, let's say you don't know how to do macros or shortcuts in Excel, like you're slow and clunky with that. Unless you're doing the Excel games, and there's literally like an e-sport of Excel, where a bunch of Excel nerds are going and they're seeing who can organize spreadsheets faster and the fastest, right? That's the old way. And by the way, those are valuable skills in the workforce, because it allows you to effectively harness more data, okay, faster, and get better insights and cleaner data out of it. But that's the old way. And so people that could do that the old way, they were paid highly because they were effective, they were efficient, and their bosses knew, or whoever they're working for knew that, hey, Joe's a whiz. You give him a spreadsheet, he's going to pull the most insightful data. It's going to be clean, it's going to be organized, it's going to be easy to read, and you know it's high quality, okay? Well, AI is replacing Joe, okay? And AI is replacing, and Joe was a master at Excel, a master at macros, all those formulas, everything complex and automated and all that kind of stuff. Joe was amazing at. AI can do that. Okay, so where does that leave Joe? Where does that leave you, who wasn't even like Joe? Well, knowing that AI can basically be Joe, Joe has to shift from being the guy who knows all the Excel formulas to knowing the macros, to being the guy that coordinates that, who coordinates that setup. And for Joe, if he knows that, he can be like, what would 6 Joes on a team do? If I had a team of 6 Joes that were amazing, how much more data could I analyze? What other types of models could I do and present in the same amount of time it took them before? How could I present 2x, 3x, 4x, 5x, 6x of the work, right? And that is the edge. It shifts the job. And now, of course, there is a corresponding demand that's put on workers and employees to perform, right, at these higher levels. But, right, the good thing is if you can, for the same amount of effort, you can increase your output and productivity. for that. And so this mindset shift is basically what you need to do and what you need to become is like the mini CEO, or the more kind of the more pop culture reference is become the Simon Cowell of AI, of your work. And so Simon Cowell was kind of made famous by, I mean, he was famous before, I think, but like I knew him from American Idol, and he was the judge. Now he does like X Factor or whatever the same version of the show is these days. But he was known as the harsh and critical and hard to please judge for these entertainers or for these singers. And so if you won Simon over, right, you're doing a good job. And so what that is basically you become the person that judges and curates the output. Now, the great thing here is that where AI is basically the performer, and then you're Simon, and you're just judging the performance. But you also have a feedback loop with the AI, and you can tweak it here, tweak it there to make the performance better. It's so much easier to curate content, to look at something and find the flaws in something than it is to actually create something unique and just unique and valuable and useful, right? It's very, very hard to create. It's a lot easier to destroy, and it's a lot easier to find the gaps in a creation, right, than it is to actually do the creation. Think about writing an essay. It's a lot easier to edit an essay than it is to write the essay, go and look at your own work and find the flaws in your own work, edit them objectively, and then make the output better. Now, if you're a good writer, you can do that, but think about how journalists run, how they have the writers and they have the editors and the publishers and all of that. So they operate in the system. Well, what AI is doing, since it's replacing the Joes of the world, right, the people that are experts at specific tasks, are really good at those specific tasks, is doing those. You need to reposition yourself as the curator of the work that the AI does. Channel the AI's experience, channel its ability to go out and operate significantly faster than you. And of course, you have to understand that AI still makes mistakes, it still hallucinates, it still gives you wrong data. But you go into a position of curation, of judging what the output is. And what this does is allows you, one, you can do the work of 6 Joes, right, with one person and a strong AI, AI ability or AI ability to work through AI. Even if you don't have that strong of an AI ability, it's so powerful these days. It's only getting more powerful that your ability to pump out work at Joe's level, the Excel spreadsheet whiz, is just a question away, because Claude knows how Excel works, and it can easily check the formulas and make sure they're doing that. It can check it faster than you can, or faster than Joe can, more than likely, okay? And so you can sit back and be like, okay, how can I curate the outcome or the value for this business? What things can I pull in to my AI or point my AI at to make the output better? And the cool thing is that it's your work, right? The AI is your work, but it's also the AI's work. And so you can be a little bit more detached from what it does, right? Because you haven't been in the weeds doing the task, right? So your focus isn't there. It's on the holistic picture. And it allows you to basically for the same or even less effort, get a lot more productivity. And I saw this post, a couple posts. One was from a VC, and the VC was talking about how with Opus 4.8 and maybe even Fable, that it's a better VC than that VC, okay? Because the amount of data that it can pull in, the speed at which it can do, the analysis, it can pull in all of their structures and all of the ways they evaluate companies and do that very, very fast. And it makes their job a lot easier to figure out which companies are good, which ones aren't. And basically what the VC work is, right? And what most business work is, or a lot of it is taking data and being able to pull insights, the right insights from that data, and then have the corresponding actions on top of that and decisions that actually drive value, okay? And that's where the edge is. But what this person said, this VC said, he was like, okay, it's good there, but it doesn't have the human element. It doesn't have the, the je ne sais quoi that a VC has when they're looking at companies, right? The thing, that spark that they see in a founder, the spark that they see in an idea that isn't on paper that gives them an edge, right? That's a human thing. AI hasn't fully incorporated that, and it may never fully incorporate that, at least at this point in time, probably for the next 3, 6, 18, maybe 36 months. That's kind of the window of opportunity here that AI probably won't be able to replicate that. And so that's your edge. That's a human edge. That's an experiential edge. That's a curation edge that you have. And the person went on to say that basically him plus AI, him plus, Claude Fable or Claude Opus 4.8 was significantly better than he had been. And the work that he could do, right, for his VC work, he could do, that took him a team and weeks to do, he could do in a couple hours with just him and his AI. Which is great, right? That allows you to see more opportunities. That allows you to pull more data. It allows you to check your blind spots a lot better when you put the systems in place and you start working through it. And you detach yourself from doing the work and you empower yourself with the tools, right? Mainly AI on hand to do things better and faster. Okay. And then the next tweet came from Jack, founder of Twitter. Now working on Block and a bunch of other things and a bunch of AI products and a bunch of wild stuff. But anyways, Jack said, he posted, he said, I've shifted from telling agents what to do to asking them what to do and pulling the best thread. So he is now becoming a curator of the work versus the one doing the work. So rather than him being the one that's saying, this is what we do, this is the process, here are all the things, he says, here's kind of the problem that I want solved, or here's the idea. Tell me how you would approach it. And he's asking the agents, and then he's just questioning it, right? And he's just using his experience, right? His knowledge, his perspective to then guide the agents, right? In a direction, or to then see what the options are, right? Because he's basically consulting a team of experts here with agents. And and the cool thing is like, you don't always know where they're getting their stuff from. Which the bad thing is, like, you don't know where they're getting their stuff from, so it's hard to validate. But the good thing is when you ask someone a question, right, or you ask someone their perspective on something, and you aren't fully versed in their background or whatnot, you might get an answer that surprises you. But that's where opportunity gets created, because it's something new, it's something novel, and they may see it from a perspective that you perhaps never would have thought of before. And you can channel that with AI. You can have them do that. You can say, hey, act as a mechanical engineer and approach this problem. Hey, act as a philosopher and approach this problem. Act as a physicist and approach this same problem. And so you can point the agents through different and give them different context mechanisms to then analyze whatever that problem is and see how they approach it. And then you, as the curator, can then curate what work you want to do. Right, which I think is incredibly powerful. And I use that when I'm working with my agents because I don't know a lot of stuff, right? There's so many things I don't know. And so what I do is I point them at things. I ask them how they would do it. I ask them to tell me or explain what the process is, why it's that way, right? To give me plans. And then I curate those plans based upon my experience, my knowledge, and my expertise. And sometimes I'm like, agent, that looks good. Let's do it and see what happens, right? And I'm curating the outcome that way. And so this makes it, I think, a lot easier to work with AI when you start doing this. It makes it easier for you to leverage AI's experience and its capabilities a lot better. And then it also starts that shift that you can make in yourself where you start detaching yourself from being the Joe, being the person that goes in, that does the work, that knows all the Excel macros, that knows all that kind of stuff, to then using the tools, right, that enable them to do those same exact things. You see this everywhere in life. Like, you don't know how a phone works, yet you still use the phone. You don't know how a car works, modern cars and all their traction control and ABS and cruise control and speeds and sensors and all that kind of stuff. You don't know how they work, but you know how to use it, you know how to drive it, and generally it makes the experience easier, right? More effective. Driving, or for phones and stuff like that, you don't know how they send the information, you just know that they work. And so you're channeling the tool and you're using its capabilities more to its full extent. And so that's kind of the perspective that I want you to take away. I want you to become the Simon Cowell of your work, right? The mini CEO, the person that is basically curating the output, curating the outcome, judging the output that the agents do, and telling it what to change and what to fix so that it is better. And so your work becomes your unique perspectives, which I don't think is going to go away. I think that's your X factor. I think that is the human X factor that is really valuable these days. and combining that with the AI's capability. And the people that are able to do that, the people that make that shift, they're going to create a ton of opportunities. They're going to be the ones that have jobs. They're going to be the ones that have companies, that build businesses, that have success over the next 6 to 12, 18 to 36 months. Beyond that, who knows what's going to happen in this space. I guess we'll have to cross that bridge when we get there and see what's going on. But if you can put yourself in that position, you're going to immediately be extremely valuable, not only for your own stuff that you're working on, but when you're working with anyone else, they know they call you, right? And they know that you can do the work of 10 people. You can solve problems, you can get things done that were never possible before. And especially right now, the next 6 to 12 months, right now, that's going to be more valuable than ever because people still have their same problems. People still, like, just real simply, people want websites built. They want marketing campaigns built. They want data analytics built, right? They want all this stuff. And the tools are at your fingertips when you take action, when you know that they exist and you embrace them. They're at your fingertips to be able to deliver those services faster and easier than ever before, and charge for them, right? Because people need them, and they're painful, and people pay to have those painful problems solved, and especially problems that are tied to revenue generating activities and stuff like that. So become the Simon Cowell, become that mini CEO, and I think you'll find there's a ton of opportunities out there, and you'll enjoy working with AI a lot more. So that is it for this video. Subscribe, and if you want to get more lessons, check out my book or join the arsenal below to learn more about how to build and grow and actually get real value out of AI, not just video game results. So that's it for this one. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.